So today we're taking a look at a pretty exciting product here for those of you who like camping.
Yes.
The Coleman Darkroom Technology tent. Look at this thing right here. And this is a 6-person tent with darkroom technology. Means when that sunlight comes up in the morning, you can still sleep for a little bit.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing.
It is, especially for us who we stay up late at night and you know, we want to sleep in the morning, and the only problems is the noise and the light. So we've got one of those two knocked out right here.
There we have it. So let's take a look at the unveiling of this tent as we open it, how it's packaged up.
So it comes with a nice little carrying case, and that's always convenient. You don't want a tent and stakes flopping around with no carrying case.
And it's in a box.
It is in a box, so we're gonna have to get it out of this box. So we got the box open. We've got this neat little net thing, which I'm imagining probably hangs on the inside up near the roof. A lot of times they'll have something like this, just kind of as a little extra storage space.
Yeah, a little hammock net.
Yeah, a little hammock net, exactly. So we'll just set this aside until we have everything set up. Now, supposedly the poles are already integrated into this thing. So it's not like the poles are separate and that you have to get them down, you know, into the little sleeves and everything. And it's a 5-minute setup. It might take us a little bit longer now because we've never set it up before. We don't have any idea of how this thing works.
It's packed in there pretty tight.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, it's got little strings around it?
Yeah, it's got the little ties to keep it, once you get it rolled up, if you can get it rolled up the way it was initially, you put these ties back on it. But let's see here. So you want to pay attention to how this thing is rolled up. Okay?
Yeah, because that is the key to getting it back into the carrying case properly.
Okay, so that will be the canopy. And the poles are strapped to the side of it. Let's see here. Kind of put that over there for now.
Fairly good sized tent.
It is. It is a pretty good sized tent, that's for sure.
So we have to remember it is folded up kind of side to side, right?
Yep, and then into the middle.
Yep.
And then rolled up. But looking at this, okay, we can see the poles just has the clip on. So I'm going to assume we can just, this is just to hold it. This thing right here. So we can unstrap that.
Yep. And that one just kind of stays right in there. That's nice.
All right. See a bend here.
Yep. So that'll go all the way diagonally across the top.
How long did it say it takes this thing to set up?
5 minutes?
5 minutes. Just poison ivy?
No, that's a tree. Oh, you mean what's under you?
Yeah.
No, that's not poison ivy either.
So there's little, I guess, sleeves that this goes in, perhaps.
Oh, yeah?
So there's a little sleeve over here on this side that this just goes into. Just like that. Okay, now I'll notice the poles, they don't stand steady by themselves. I'm used to the ones that are hooked up at the top.
Yeah.
And they do stand steady by themselves, but I'm assuming that once I start hooking, snapping this on here,
exactly,
it will hold it into place. But I've been wrong before.
Yeah, see, there's got 2 of them. That makes sense.
Okay.
Last one.
All right, so it's not as easy as some tents I've set up before, but it's not as difficult either. One person could easily set this up. You got to keep in mind the poles are not going to stand up by themselves. What I do with the other tent that has the poles all hooked to a cross piece at the top is I'll put them all together and then just put them in the sleeves down the bottom, and they'll stand up. These ones won't stand up, but as you hook them together, they will. You might run into a little tension up there at the top, but you just slide it through.
We do have a little something going on one side here we have to figure out.
Yeah, what's
because, see that bend at the very top of this pole? That's not supposed to be there. I think it's, yeah,
Here we go.
Yep.
Just not in all the way.
Yep. And then we have a little bit of slide adjustment to make sure that it's nice and flat.
Right.
Bottom.
You gotta adjust it, and then we'll take a look at the rain flap here, which also has a bunch of poles with it.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave the doorway over this way?
No, we'd probably want to turn it around, I think.
All right, so let's turn it. Bring it over. One thing you want to do is immediately when you set your tent up, especially in an area like this, is zip it. Because I've noticed before when this isn't done and it's left standing like this, as you're fiddling around with the rain canopy and such, it'll get full of bugs. And you'll find out when you go in there at night that it's going to be a little rough to sleep. So I immediately zip that up. So now we're bug proof.
Nice.
Let's take a look at the canopy. Okay, let's roll it up together. Looks something like this, and I assume this is where the darkroom technology comes in.
Right.
As you can see the material here, it's black on the inside.
It is. Look at that.
It's very
thick
material.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed with Coleman tents is they don't tend to leak.
Right.
I have one that we've used on several camper trips, a much smaller one, and that thing does not leak to date. But let's see how this canopy goes on here.
Now, one of the things I have noticed in relation to what you're speaking of is that this actually has WeatherTech, they call it, WeatherTech technology, which is supposed to help keep the rain out. It does have this kind of bathtub sort of formation at the bottom of this thick gray material, and supposedly inverted seams, and that's supposed to be what actually keeps it from leaking so much.
That's pretty good.
We'll pull this across.
Now I've noticed the Coleman logos were on the side when this is on the picture.
Yes.
However, we got it backwards. And if you come around here with the camera, I'll show you how we got it backwards.
Okay.
Right here is going to be where the poles go.
Oh.
And I don't think there's any on the back. At least I haven't ever seen any that have them on the back. It's usually on the front that makes it extend over the doorway.
Yes.
So I think we got to turn this thing around.
Okay. So you'll notice that these little things with the strings hanging off of them, we know that these have to go at the corners where the poles for the main structure are. And the reason being, because this tent is made to be staked down by the canopy itself, not necessarily with the corners of the tent. So you can take these, run them straight to the ground. It'll hold the whole structure down. It supposedly withstands about 30, 35 mile per hour winds. I think we could make it withstand more, personally.
I think so.
Because it's a Coleman.
Yeah. Sometimes, yes. There's a little Velcro thing here that hooks on the poles as well. So attaching this to the tent and then staking it down gives it that extra support. There are little places that you can put stakes in down here. You can either go through the little loop right here, or you can go through this plastic thing if you want to. Actually, the plastic thing, I have possibly gone through them in the past, but the plastic thing is really to connect this to, okay? But before we connect this to those little plastic loops,
Right.
what we're gonna do is put the pole in the front.
Okay.
Because sometimes you get too much tension on there.
Uh-huh.
And if you have too much tension on there, it's harder to put the pole in.
Right.
It may not be in this case, but just previous experience.
You'll have to excuse the shakiness of the video too. I'm being eaten alive by bugs here, so I keep,
Yeah,
keep slapping at them.
We picked a marshy area to camp in. We sure did.
Yeah.
I
I just haven't had a lot of rainfall lately in the area.
Yes, we decided to come just after the tropical storm came through. Okay, now look at this. Is a pretty long canopy pole.
It is.
We'll put it through here.
Uh-huh. Because it does have this pole pocket in the very front built in here.
Yep, and I'll get it around the bend
there.
where it's even, and I'll kind of let it hang.
Yep.
If you're doing this by yourself, it is possible.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see over here where it connects. It goes into this little loop right here.
Little hole.
And then...
Yeah, so it does have a grommet there that this end of the rain fly sits in. That's nice.
And then we'll just connect these little plastic things down the bottom here.
Pull it over there. Yep.
Just like so.
Perfect.
Let's see what we got here.
Nice thick metal stakes.
Yeah, some pretty hardy stakes.
Yep. Look at that. So you'll see it has on the side underneath the Coleman logo, it has these strings that are hanging off. This pulls the sides of the rain canopy out and away from the surface of the tent so that it helps the rainwater deflect off of the sides. But it also allows air to flow up underneath the canopy.
That's a big one.
It is, because you want airflow.
Yes. Now I've got to say, not staking tents down.
Yep.
It can be done. I normally don't stake them down.
Right.
And usually there's not strong enough of wind while I'm camping that blows the tent away.
Yep.
But I have been camping on windy nights before, and it discombobulated the tent to an extent that I woke up with the side of it all over my face, and it was a mess.
Right.
You can use a stake mallet, or
yeah, if you're in particularly rocky terrain. Nice big rock.
you can go the caveman method.
Yeah.
Because this is what they did back in the Stone Age when they set up their tents.
That's right. It does have that little plastic loop at the very bottom that you put the stake through. And if you'll notice, he put the stake in at an angle with the bottom of the stake angling inward, just for that extra added support so that it won't pull out of the ground quite as easy. And the second stake over on the other side, just to help keep it in place. You don't want to pull the strings too hard, of course.
No, just enough to get them off the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, my main thing is the airflow.
Right. Nice. So I have to say, as far as styling is concerned, this is a very aesthetically pleasing tent. It's got the dark blue. It's got that sort of safety green, I think they call it, or safety yellow, that is almost a neon or a fluorescent look, with the combination of a nice teal top and accents on the front corner where the Coleman logo is. Now, of course, ours is very wrinkly because first time we've brought it out and used it. But I do like the look of this tent. Not that that really makes a big difference to a lot of people. I think it makes more of a difference to women than it does men. I'm one of those that I want the tent to look pretty.
I will say that nothing says camping like that Coleman logo, though.
That's true.
You know?
That is true. Now, you do have to be careful when you stake your tent down like this. If you have small children running around your campsite, you have to make them very aware of these strings coming off because they are a tripping hazard.
They are, and one thing I found that's helpful, though some might see it as a waste,
is just not bring your kids.
is at night to actually hang some glow sticks from the line.
That's right, yes.
Coleman sells some glow sticks.
Oh.
They do, and you can just crack them and hang them from the line. They'll glow for 8-10 hours all night.
Yeah, so kids can see them.
Yeah, someone gets out to take a leak in the middle of the night, you're not tripping over your tent wires, which we've all done.
Right.
Sure.
I'm kind of excited to see what it looks like on the inside, even though it's not a very bright and sunny day. I'm imagining that we get in there and it's going to be kind of like a cave, like pitch black. Now, one thing that's worth mentioning too is these beautiful Caterpillar boots. These brand new Caterpillar boots. This is the first camping trip they've been on. Really the first trip in general that they've been on. Notice the little cat logo up near the toe on the outside edges. A nice little touch. We like that Caterpillar.
A lot of rocks. Rocky terrain, sometimes up here in northeastern Pennsylvania, where it's a little difficult to pound in those stakes.
Right. And I don't know if Jeff mentioned it earlier, but we are camping in Francis Slocum State Park. This is outside the town of Wilkes-Barre. We're outside of a town because it makes it convenient to go into town and purchase some, supplies or purchase some groceries, which we're going to be camping out and for a couple of days, and we want to make sure that we have plenty of things to eat here at the campsite. Got a little soft ground there.
Yeah.
That one corner sits a little low. Yep, so a nice looking tent overall. We're going to be taking a look at how long this thing lasts. There is actually a spray that you can get for the outside of these things. After a while, the tent material starts to break down a little bit. The coating that they put on the outside to make it more waterproof starts to sort of fade. And
it does after time.
Yes, and you have to come back and respray these things. A lot of people don't realize that. And it seems like the cheaper the tent, the quicker the spray that they put on it from the manufacturer actually breaks down. So the tent leaks fairly quick, and then they're confused and upset.
Right.
When it just needs some, I think 3M actually makes a nice green bottle.
Yeah, a nice spray that you can
Yeah,
fill it with.
yeah, and you can get it at Walmart.
But another thing about these tent or stakes too is, like, I'm coming into real soft ground back here.
Mm-hmm.
So this little device, this little plastic device, I can use it to shorten where I'm going to put my stake. So I want
you
to put
can
my
choke
stake
up on a little bit.
right in here.
Right.
So I can choke up on it a little bit.
Nice.
And that should work.
Right. Voila.
So let's take a look inside the darkroom tent.
Okay. The unveiling. So another thing that you'll notice is that this has a nice large door on the front of it. Coleman has started making the doors on these things a little bit larger, just for the sake of being able to move an air mattress or cots and things inside the tent when you already have the air mattress inflated. It's not going to be difficult at all to get a blown up queen-size air mattress inside this thing. So we're kind of excited about that. I think that's a nice touch. It's got a little bit of a funny smell to it when you first get it from the manufacturer. But I have to say,
it is significantly darker.
It is significantly dark. Yeah, and even just the fact that it's daytime, so we still have light flowing in a little bit from underneath the edges of the rain fly that's on the top of it. So I'm imagining that as the sun starts going down, it's going to get pitch black in here. And you're going to need a little bit of extra light, maybe a extra lantern or two to bring in here.
That's right. And you can see how far that's pulled out, which is good. The whole top is screened. So we got a good airflow in there.
Yep.
And it is pretty dark, I got to say, because normally you go into a tent and it's all lit up.
That's right.
Where the daylight is shining through the canopy.
That's right. Now, if you're one of those people who lays in a tent and looks up at the little screened areas and gets freaked out because there's bugs on the outside of it, this tent may not be for you. You may want to go with one of the other Colemans that's not fully screened over the dome of the thing, because it is 100% screen up there.
Although you may not be able to see them as well.
Maybe not, because it's dark.
That's right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Darkroom Technology tent. by Coleman, 6-person tent. We're gonna be trying this out tonight and excited to see how it works.